Show. Episode 2 of American Horror Story Apocalypse was fantastic in my opinion. It didn't answer a lot of our questions, and it left us even more confused. But I'm on the edge of my seat to find out the answers and to see episode 3. Now, if you would like to support the channel, leave a like or dislike and subscribe. Link to my group, The Freaks of AHS on Facebook, is in the description. Come join the Freak Show. And a spoiler warning out there for all of you who have not watched episode 2. I don't want to spoil you. Do not watch this video. This episode was written by James Wong and it was directed by Jennifer Lynch. The episode opens with Emily discovering snakes in her closet, which is kind of a weird take on snakes on a plane. Miss Mead and the other person who is the character Amazon Eve from Freak Show, they come in and they chop up the snake. As expected, it's served for dinner. Guys, the cooperative really should have spared the expense for cookbooks. I mean, come on, any redneck worth their weight in salt knows that you skin a snake before you eat it. I mean, even before steaming it. Ugh. So why don't those who protect the outpost use some common sense? Just like you don't leave teeth in a jawbone when you go to cook human flesh. Ugh. Now, they need to learn Cannibalism 101 if they're ever going to expect to survive the apocalypse. Anyway, at dinner, Coco's hair is surprisingly better. And Venable does not tell anyone about Michael's arrival despite their questions about it. When everyone starts to eat their snake soup, the snakes come alive and they slither out of the bowls. Guys, it was such a great, fun scene for an opening. Later, Venable gathers the group in the common room and Michael enters. It's amazing, guys. He stares her down and she totally moves out of his way so he can take the position at the front of the common room. I mean, I love how he treats Venable as if she's just nothing but gum on his shoe. I mean, is it a shame to say that it tickles me? Now, this has to be the best scene in the entire show. Michael informs everyone that 3 compounds have been destroyed and says that they were in Syracuse, New York, Berkeley, West Virginia, and San Angelo, Texas. The 6 international outposts, nobody has heard from them. He tells them that there is another place called the Sanctuary and has been chosen to select those from Outpost 3 that are going to go. Those that stay will basically be given pills so they can die in their sleep before the cannibals get to them. How wonderful and considerate. The whole scene is so cold, and there was this calm panic among the guests when Michael was talking. Even Mr. Gallant is so panicked, he says he'll go first for the testing. And Michael is so awesome. He's very well written so far, from what I believe. He possesses Vivian's looks and her beauty, but also has his father's narcissism and his quiet, innocent evil. In my opinion, Cody Fern is killing it as Michael Langdon. Now, the one-liner award goes to Coco when she tells Joan, "You were 52 when Elvis took his last shit." Joan had just these brilliant scenes in a fight with Coco. I was just really impressed with her character, Evie, and how they mixed words. And there was even one where Evie gets into a fight with her grandson, Mr. Gallant, but I'll talk about that in a minute. Now, guys, if you want to talk about this episode after it premieres tonight, come back to my channel for Beyond the Horror, my unofficial American Horror Story after show. Link is in the description. And if you want to know how I was able to watch episode 2, I have FX+. Mr. Gallant is the first one up to see Michael, and he confesses his hatred for Evie, his grandmother. When Michael talks to Mr. Gallant, he tells him that if he lies, he'll know. Kind of things like that. And it's so reminiscent of Colt and Winter when she would do the pinky promises. Now, we don't find out why Evie is the one raising him, but Evie wanted him to be like a perfect gay man. And that's not what he wants to be, so he does whatever he can to piss her off. And that kind of makes me wonder why he even saved her in the first place. Why did he even go get her when the apocalypse came, when the thing sounded? Why didn't he just say, screw her, just hang with Coco? Anyway, Michael does appear to be passionate about his questions when he's talking to Mr. Gallant, and Mr. Gallant picks up that he's hitting on him. It's pretty funny, actually. In Emily's room, Her and Timothy, they're thinking that they are smarter than Michael, and they sneak into his bedroom after he leaves. They see his laptop and they read his emails. It's very weird though that number one, obviously there's some sort of in sort of infrastructure for the emails to be sent back and forth. So it's pretty weird on how the technology itself is still existing after the apocalypse. Now, it does seem that according to the computer, somebody has been conversing with the cooperative, and it's not Venable. My instinct says that it's Kathy's character, but I'm kind of confused on the sender. Anyway, the writer says that Venable and Gallant have been marked as red and will be executed after the interviews. And it also goes into detail about how Venable has gone rogue and is now executing people. Now, there are two candidates, but, whoever is writing the email, I guess, that they're saying that they doubt their abilities. So let's take a closer look at this image. The emails are dated October 2021. So we know now that almost 2 years have almost progressed since the apocalypse. So October 2021 is where we're currently at in episode 2. One of the emails, it says Brazil status. But didn't Michael say that they hadn't heard from the international posts? Maybe it's old, maybe it's not. I don't know. But what's up with the surrogate womb email? I mean, what is up with that? I'm so looking forward to seeing what that storyline evolves into. Now, I'd like to take a moment to thank my patrons. Jeremy Oren, Michael Mullins-Wright, No Tell Hotel, Alicia, Mia, and baby Jalen George, Joseph Anthony, Kenny Joseph, Jill Post, Scott Bryant, X Misa, Dawn Ford, Rez Ramirez, Lisa Lee, John Morgan, The Leopard Cat, Connor Thane, Cody Spencer, Sookie Fawn, Shane, Mike Gedney, and Debbie Ebby Babebby. We are watching a scary movie this Saturday night, and to join, click the link in the description to become a patron. Now, the Rubber Man is back, y'all, but whoever it is, they're pretty meatier than Tate. Their thighs are pretty thicker, and the chest is way broader than Evan. Anyway, Mr. Gallant kind of, he's in his bedroom, and latexy Rubber Man guy comes in, and they get funky with them funky selves. Evie sees all of it, and she tells Mrs. Mead. And she's obviously doing this to ensure her own place in the sanctuary, but it is pretty messed up of her to do that to her own grandson. Michael meets with Venable and confronts her about the insane rules that she's been instituting. She says she's on orders from the cooperative, orders that she cannot prove. But she really spins the situation to snap the hands of Michael and the cooperative, basically saying that it's their fault and biting the hand that basically is feeding her. And it's pretty easy to predict that Venable is going to die. Horribly. Horribly, horribly. And Michael humiliates Venable by making her undress so that she can show him her shame. Now, she does this in hopes of obviously securing a spot in the sanctuary, and we do see that her spine is scarred from surgery. I do apologize. I don't know exactly if it's like a scoliosis or what could be wrong, so I don't want to make an assumption. But after Michael humiliates her, guys, he tells her that she didn't pass the test. Venable is going to be left behind in Outpost 3 for the cannibals. Now later, Venable thinks that Mr. Gallant and Michael know each other. So she takes Gallant somewhere and she tortures him. And I love how he screams out the names of these guys. It's hilarious too that he even liked the torture. Oh my God, that was so awesome. Now, when they leave, Michael goes to Mr. Gallant and tells him that he was not the one in the rubber suit, but his grandmother, Evie, turned him in. Guys, I love Evan and Joan in their scenes when they're arguing about her turning him in. They are two incredible actors from different generations, but they can hold a candle perfectly next to each other. This had to be another one of my favorite scenes in the entire episode. Now back to Timothy and Emily. They're still arguing. I mean, still, guys, it's almost the end of the freaking episode, and they're still arguing about this shit. They're not really going to make it as a couple after they're done with the apocalypse if they're literally going to argue an entire freaking episode. Anyway, they're still arguing over all of it, and Emily says something to Timothy that if Venable has lied about the rules, what else has she lied about? Like their perfect DNA. I had to say, guys, that bitch Emily had the nerve to say that she has perfect DNA. Nobody knows that she does. Timothy is the one with the great DNA. Nobody said anything about Emily, yet she inserts herself in there. But Emily, he's special, not you, okay? Just kidding. I know she is. I'm sure we'll find out why in a later episode. Anyway, since the rules aren't real, they decided to bang like there's no tomorrow. Well, I mean, you know. Pun intended, I guess. So while Gallant is in the common room, this awesome Fleetwood Mac song that I used to listen to when I was a kid, I think it was Gold Dust Woman. Anyway, it plays from the Untouchable jukebox, and the rubber man leads Mr. Gallant up to another floor, and they're kind of wrestling, having some foreplay, and Mr. Gallant stabs the rubber man thinking that it's Michael, but it's not. Michael suddenly appears in the doorway. Mr. Gallant looks down, and instead of the rubber man, it's his grandmother, Evie. That poor boy was so confused. And I gotta say, at first, I kind of was too, but now I all see that it was Michael's doing, and this must be part of Mr. Gallant's test. Now, Timothy and Emily are almost executed, but Timothy is awesome. He knocks down one of the guards. He takes their gun. He shoots Mrs. Meade. But Amazon Eve gets the jump on him. I know that's not her character name, guys. I don't know what it is right now, but I'm going to refer to her as Amazon Eve until I find out. So Mrs. Meade makes her way out of the shower-like room, and we see that she's not bleeding anymore because that bitch is a robot. Now, guys, judging by the look on her face, I don't think Mrs. Meade expected that one coming either. We do not know ultimately what happens to Timothy and Emily, as that is not answered in this episode. Now, as y'all know, I love your theories and ideas, so make sure you leave them below. What did you think of episode 2 of Apocalypse? I'm giving it a solid 9 out of 10. I'm disappointed we didn't get the witches this week, but I'm more than pleased with the slow burn storyline and the character development. Weekly Wednesday live streams are every single Wednesday, and Beyond the Horror, my unofficial American Horror Story after show, is every Wednesday night, immediately following the current episode of American Horror Story. Thanks for watching, and beware of sexy scathach.
Beware of sexy scathach.
AHS Apocalypse premieres Wednesday, September